nomination.
Recording in progress. This meeting is being recorded.
We're going to be just doing a short interview for you for the position before and I'll have my colleagues introduce themselves and then we can start the interview.
Okay, great.
I'm Chris Miller, Councilman for District 6.
And I'm Melissa Ventura, Councilwoman for District 3.
And I'm
Okay.
Councilman for District 2. And my understanding is you work at Rockland Street at the Berks Health Center, right?
Yes, I do. And I'm a little bit everywhere at all of locations now since taking on this role. But I've been at Rockland for about 4 years.
Great. We thank you for your service to the community. So what made you interested in the Board of Health?
Well, I recently took on the role of Chief Medical Officer here for the health center. So I was the director of the pediatrics team. And when my former colleague, Dr. Kelleher, left, I was promoted internally to this position. So obviously, I feel like as a health center as a whole, it's important to have representation on the Board of Health because of the integral role we play as a safety net healthcare provider in this community. And so I would be happy to represent the health center and then be, an intermediary for health needs and, distributing health information to the community. Because we take care of people regardless of their ability to pay and their immigration status and all those reasons, I think it'd be important to have us at the table and to have us as part of the team for health needs in the community.
Congrats on your new role.
Yeah, we were very pleased that you were going to show the interest. So I'm going to let my colleagues go around and interview and ask questions, and then I will conclude. So, Chris?
The one question we usually ask most people who are applicants is to make sure that they understand the time commitment. And I'm sure, especially with your job, you're on the go a lot. And just want to make sure that you understand and you realize you'll need to allot time to be on the board, which meets it's every other month on a Tuesday at 4:00.
Okay, that should be no problem. And I think normally moving forward, I won't be seeing patients on Tuesday afternoons. I historically spent about 90% of my time seeing patients, and I'll be going down to about half of my time, but it's a several month transition period as I phase out my patients that were already scheduled all summer and get through back to school season before I'm down to about 50%. But that should be no problem at all to attend the meetings at that time.
Thank you.
What do you feel like you can bring to the board with your experience, and especially with, in a community where sometimes a lot of people just don't know what's going on health-wise and how to get the resources they need? How do you feel like you can input in that?
Yeah, I think, I've been practicing in Berks County for almost 17 years. So while I've been at the health center for 4, I was at the pediatric clinic at Reading Hospital for the 12 years before that. And so I've lived here and raised my own kids here. They're now in college, but I understand the wider community as a whole and interface with both of the major hospitals. And then especially in my role here at the health center, I have a really deep understanding of the health literacy level of so many of our city's residents and how I think people are, and including us, are continually surprised by people how low that health literacy level is. And in communicating things, people assume that people understand how, say, primary care works or the American health system works. And I think that's just not true. And so the way we communicate information has to be adapted to that, how you get information to people about health as we saw during the pandemic, has to be creative, and you have to use a lot of different ways to do that, especially when you're working with language barriers and with people who just may not think of healthcare and prevention in the same way that we do when they come from places where it's a completely different model of access. So.
Thank you.
Okay, and just to let you know, Karen, I have a lot of background in community health. I work for the Council on Chemical Abuse full time. So I know some of the pressing issues. What do you see coming into the clinic for some of the pressing issues that you think the Board of Health needs to focus on?
Yeah, I think one interesting thing we've seen here in the last year is an influx of immigrants from Haiti, either coming from the southern border, like via South America in an interesting global migration pattern, or directly from Haiti. So we've been, that's one of the reasons I was running behind today. I saw a mother with an infant who was from Haiti, and the extra, we're well prepared to deal with people who speak Spanish, but I see an increasing Haitian Creole population growing here, and kind of figuring out how to meet their health needs will require, I think, us thinking about in a different language and different ways to approach that. Certainly coming out of the immediate aftermath of the pandemic, still trying to reach more people with COVID vaccines as we move to a new model of vaccination where it's not universally supplied by the government is a challenge I'm thinking about every day right now. And as the information comes out from the feds and from the state about how that will look and what that will mean for how we continue to try to get people vaccinated and protected, especially the vulnerable population that we serve. Those are kind of two things I'm thinking about on a regular basis here. Obviously, we have health issues in our community, chronic problems like diabetes and hypertension, and just keeping a large number of people with without health insurance getting the care that they need, so that it's the same for everyone in our community, that there's not tiered levels of care for people. So those are the things that I think about a lot.
You had an opportunity to look at the study that was done by the county regarding having the Board of Health in Berks County.
I have not had a thorough time to review it. I'm aware of it, and it's been that came out close to the time I think when I took this position. So my reading list has been voluminous since then, and the number of problems I've been managing. But it keeps being on my top 10 things I have to get to. But I have not read it. But I've heard a lot of the discussion around a county Board of Health. But I have to admit I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that intersects with our own Board of Health. So that will be coming in the future, but a lot of interesting recommendations. So do you have any questions for us at all?
I don't think so. I'm really sorry I didn't quite make it there in person. That was my goal today, because I know it's always more meaningful to have a face-to-face conversation. But thanks for bearing with me on being a few minutes late. And if you think of anything afterwards, I'm happy anytime to take more questions.
Okay, well, just a little bit about how the process works is that our next full council meeting, which will be the second Monday in August, we will be putting your name and recommendation to move forward for the appointment. And after that, you'll be contacted by Shelley Smith, our Deputy City Clerk, to be able to go through the process of being appointed and set up for the meetings and such.
Okay, great.
So if you don't have any questions, we just thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you all for the work that you're doing. And I look forward to hopefully being in a meeting soon.
Much appreciated for the dedication for public health that you have. So,
Thank you. Thank you. It's definitely my passion. So thanks.
okay, good luck.
All right.
Dr. White,
Great.
before you disconnect, the board meets tomorrow, which is before you're officially appointed, but I will be glad to send you the Zoom invitation so you can connect and see what they're discussing. If you're
Okay.
interested. Okay, very
Yeah.
good. I'll send that out to you tomorrow.
Thanks. Yep.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's interesting, I had a, I'm waiting to be on a panel discussion, or panel discussion.
Yeah.
So we just.
Are the other two virtual or are they in person?
I believe that the 4:30 was in person. The second one was unclear. Yes, and this is his second time. And he said he would do his best. So I asked him to email me if he was not going to be able to make it, and I will check again, but I didn't see anything from him. No.
And we have a executive session at
4:40. I let Donna know where we were scheduling, so I was concerned if we were gonna bite up too much of an meeting, just trying to schedule it doesn't seem that way. You know, we're really tight.
We are.
Like recorded? I don't know if you recorded.
I don't know if she's gonna record it or not, but it's public. It's not like people can't come and make comment, but people can come and sit in, so.
We don't have an committee going with that.
No, it's the ethics training in its place.
So next week we have strategic planning. We have until 4:30 if Mr. Stein doesn't come. And the thoughts on the kids if we have some time here. I'm sorry, say that again? Okay, so we may have like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the other things on the agenda, see whether there's any other issues out that we need to address.
On Friday, I asked for updates from the mayor's staff on the charter board, the zoning hearing board, the convention center authority, and I feel like there was a fourth one
So there's some pending applications.
that they've had for a time that I'm trying to move forward.
Why is it always take so long?
I can't answer that question. Dolores was supposed to be here and she's not connected. Once I hand them over to the mayor's staff, I don't know what they're.
Did you talk to us about the last one?
I can tell you in a minute.
Because I could approach them as, you know, they have the committee and say what's one.
I did not. I'll forward this to all three of you.
So it's Michael Pucci for reappointment. It's Jeff Patone for reappointment.
Yes, Shane.
Shane McFarland for reappointment.
And Brad Allman for the mechanical board. Those were the four that I asked about.
So as far as who is mayor or approval, we have to schedule for the animal control board.
Yes, I have her scheduled. for August. It's the third Monday. She's not available next week. And I have Mia for next week and Benny Lee tentatively for next week, too, from the Youth Commission would be, God bless you,
Thank you.
on August the 7th. And again,
Thank you.
And where are we going with the citizens initiative? No one's gonna-
no, we have Tanya Butler waiting. I did contact her to let her know that she was the only applicant, so.
That's general.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
we're ready.
yeah, I think we.
Sorry. You're
Welcome.
on the right track.
Anywhere?
Yeah. It's your Mr. Heck, right? Okay, my name's Marcia Goodman Hendricks. I'm registered District 2 and chair of the committee. And we have a very informal interview process, even though I know you weren't scheduled for 4:30 or 4:15, it's not online, so we might as well just move ahead, okay? Okay. And just have my colleagues introduce themselves and then we can get started.
I'm Chris Miller, Councilman for District 6.
Melissa Victoria, Council of District 3.
So we very much appreciate probably the busy work schedule for you to go. Oh, okay.
Because they had been going all over the place and I wanted to make sure I was here. I wasn't, I'm not, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really know what this was all about. I know what the council, the board and all that stuff is about and I understand that. But my job is they send me everywhere. And I was all the way busted down in Malvern today. So I was like, no, I'm gonna take, I want to be here. So I was gonna be in an attic, so if I would have been here, I would have been very dirty and itchy, and so I just.
I hear you, that's good. Yeah. So just a little bit about how the process works. For any of the appointments for the boards, authorities, and commissions, applications are made, they run through the mayor's office for approval, and then as council, we do the interviews just to be able to see your interests and be able to make recommendations, and council votes on the appointment.
Right.
So the first question we always have is, why are you interested in this particular appointment?
Because I'm in the process of getting like my contractor's license through the HVAC. I've been doing it for 10 years now through E.G. Smith. Then if anybody's been around Reading, you all know the name. I mean, I've been here all my life, Reading. I don't plan on going anywhere. And I think it's a benefit to the company I work for and even me for and advancing my knowledge of, or even taking in knowledge. Right, of anything that has to do with the city or heating and air conditioning.
Yeah, I always think it's a win-win
Oh,
when
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
serving on one of these
Information.
information sections. Exactly. So, okay, well, I'm gonna turn it over to my colleagues and
Quick question, do you have an understanding of what the purpose of the HVAC board is, what they do?
The board, like a committee board. I would say a little bit. I mean, I would understand safety of, I mean, how. I mean, I would know by experience by what I do in houses and stuff, but by board, I guess you talk about it. That's the only thing I would say. You just talk about the concerns of safety stuff.
And the installation. Well, thank you for being interested in being here. The The HVAC board meets quarterly at 4:30. And are you willing to dedicate time and effort to doing the board?
Absolutely.
What do you feel like you can bring to the table with the HVAC? Because they discuss the safety, public health, construction, permit, the issuance of permits for the city. What do you feel like you can contribute?
If you have, I would say if you have answered or questions towards how things are put in and processed of all that, I can answer that stuff. And I think that would be the best answers I can give you because that's what I do all day, every day.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what do you think some of the challenges would be in making approval and looking at recommendations? What the work you've seen out in the field, or some of the things that come up as barriers or
Communication
okay,
with companies, as like say my company, that we pull permits, but there's not an inspector there all the time when we're there, and it's a very I honestly, I met the guy that does the inspection now. I think I met him once or twice. That was it. And we've been in here in this work in the city. I mean, I would say a dozen times this past year or year and a half since the last inspector retired. But I mean, I would say communication when he's going to be there, when we can be there. You know what I mean? That's the hardest thing, I think. And or translating new guidelines that we need to go by.
when you say coming from the city, informing you on what you need to know
Yes,
about doing your work.
the type of work that we do and what is the new regulations or anything like that that come out.
Yeah, and I don't know how often it's updated, but I know it has been, and as technology changes and
Yeah.
different requirements. Okay. So that could be one of your roles on the board, is communicating that to the city personnel. That's something that's very much needed, so you can do your job the best that you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how, that when you talk about the communication, you can be one of those people that pushes the communication ahead.
And that's what I mean, if I'm gonna represent somebody, I'm gonna represent my company or myself or to the fullest, because that's, I mean, why be in it if you're not gonna do it?
Yeah, it's being an advocate for your profession, so.
Yeah.
I have to let you know, my knowledge of this is somewhat limited, but I've learned a lot being on council. And one of the things I've seen is that people tend to want to sort of, how can I say, not your business, but sometimes people like to do a homegrown projects and sort of try to shortcut. How would you address that? It's not so much the established businesses like yours, but people that are doing a lot of things from their own.
If you're gonna, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years, so if you're gonna do it, you should do it right.
Right,
And if you don't know, like the people that you're doing, like we call them fly-by-nighters.
right.
And if ask the questions to those guys, those technical questions, do you pull permits? Do you do stuff like all those type of things the right way? Because I just bought a house 5 years ago, and when I had to get it inspected, they came and did an inspection and they said, here goes a list. You need to have all this taken care of, or you're gonna get a ticket, basically. And that's the only thing I can say as into questions towards that person is make sure you ask those type of questions. Because the more questions you ask, the more you know who that person is and how good of, I mean, I know there is talkers out there, or the right word would be, or the street word would be bullshitters. Sorry my language, but
Be honest, you know?
yeah, I know they're out there, but you just gotta catch the right ones. And I mean, big names are usually last longer than a fly-by-nighter.
And a lot of them are just trying to make a quick buck and do whatever they need to do. Okay, and I really appreciate your honesty, because sometimes you just need to get down to the bottom line and say, yeah, you need to say it for what it is and then make sure everyone, I mean, the purpose for this is make sure people have safe properties
Yeah, absolutely.
and everything's functioning right.
I want my house to be up to date, and whenever I ever get inspected, they want to come, I want them to come in, come out. So, I mean, if you ain't gonna do it right, don't do it at all.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay, any questions for us at all?
No, I think I got the gist of everything. They're pretty much good ideas of what's going on and process of everything, I think.
Okay. So the way that the process works is we make a determination for recommendations to council, then your name's put on the agenda, and you'll be informed of that. The meeting it will probably be on is our next full council meeting, which is the second Monday of the month. And you will then be informed by the deputy city clerk, Shelley, who will let you know, you've been approved, and you'll come in and be able to be sworn in and have to do that formal thing. Okay, so anything else I can share?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So when is the next meeting for HVAC?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I will send that to you. It's customary for us to send your contact information to the person who's in charge of scheduling all that so that you get involved and, they let you know when the next things are coming up.
So I know for a short interview, thank you for taking the day off and, giving your time. We appreciate it.
I needed it then.
Yeah. Monday, right? Stay up long. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Well, nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's the person, I don't like, no.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little older than the, viral stuff, so I like the hands-on stuff. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mr. Stein has connected.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, we had just put, because you weren't on while we were, had someone else come in, we just had another candidate come in, so welcome. And, we'll start the interview. So.
Okay.
Marcia Goodman Henderson, I chair the committee. This is the nominations committee. It's part of the formal process to get appointed to a board. All my colleagues introduce themselves and then we can get started.
I'm Chris Miller. I'm the councilman for District 6.
I'm Melissa Ventura, Councilwoman for District 3.
Okay, so this is the interview for an appointment to the HVAC. And we just want to understand why you were interested in being appointed.
I have been involved with the HVAC field for years. I was an instructor down at Berks Career and Technology. I taught third year for about 7 or 8 years and got the guys ready to take the City of Reading test. So I've got a background in it, and I know from my short time as a mechanical inspector for the City of Reading that yous were looking for people, and I thought I could volunteer and try to help out.
Thank you. Hey, Chris?
And just, do you have an idea of what's involved with the HVAC board?
Yes, I actually was sending letters and emails out to the existing board while I was there as your mechanical inspector. So I'm very familiar with the process and the requirements.
Good, good.
The HVAC board meets quarterly at 4:30 p.m. Are you willing to dedicate time and effort to the duties of this board?
Yes,
And what would you like to see the HVAC board accomplish?
I think everything that is, there are a lot of things that I saw in the under the HVAC side that need updated. For one thing, they call out the 2009 International Mechanical Code. We're in the 2018 Mechanical Code. There was no clause put in there when they did their adoption of that. They didn't put a clause in that it would automatically adopt any additional versions that came out and were adopted by the state. So there's a lot there that needs to be rehashed. You're having trouble keeping inspectors in the city. I have my own opinion of that. And one of them is the fact that you're only doing one avenue of inspection. I come from third-party world. I was with Technicon Enterprises for 11 years, and then up at East Vincent Township in Chester County for 5. And I just went back to Technicon because they had a need and needed a commercial certified inspector. So I went back to them and left the city. I was with the city for 2 months. Enjoyed being there and working with everyone, but I was used to doing all facets of construction, not just pigeon-toed to mechanical. And I think if the city wants to have inspectors on staff and maintain them, they're gonna have to start. And I know the union's involved, so I don't know what the process is for it, but I think things need to be discussed and tried to be turned around so that you've got guys that are certified. I'll use Jay Montgomery, for instance. Jay's been an inspector in the city for, I'll say eons, because I don't know exactly when he's there. I know he's there longer than 12 years. He has multiple certifications. He has all the certifications that I have, but yet he just does plumbing. And I know when I left, they had asked him to do the mechanical side, and he kindly said, "No, I did that before." And when you have a guy doing basically 2 jobs, and you don't compensate him for any of that, that gets a little tough to swallow. And I think that's where he was at. I didn't leave for any other reason other than $20,000 a year raise. That's what it amounted to for me. I'm back at Technicon. I'm busy all day and doing inspections. So I do think there's some things that the board can talk about. And if there's an interest in making changes, I think they should be made. The board may not want to make changes. I know they're kind of heavy on the inspector's got to have so many years of experience in the trade. He has to have a City of Reading mechanical license, the whole 9 yards. But you've got a lot of good people out there that may not have experience in the trade, but have eons of experience doing inspection work. They might want to come in and do it, but they can't because of that barrier there, that they have to have the license and they also have to have worked in the trade for X amount of years.
Thank you for your insight. It really is helpful for us to hear that point of view of what's happening. Do you have any questions for us at all, sir?
No, I don't.
Anything from the other committee members? Okay, so what our process is, we will be convening to review our applications and then letting you know what our recommendations are. And then if we recommend favorably, we put you on the agenda to be voted on by the full council body. And that would be the second Monday of the month. So you'll hear back from Shelley Smith as far as how it's moving forward and what our decision is. And then you're welcomed on to the next meeting, which Shelley will be giving you information about that. Okay.
Okay.
So we really thank you for bringing your experience to, this interview. It really was insightful for us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. And I would just say with the time crunch that we're on right now, having to get to another meeting, we can come back next week and make our decisions as far as the applicants go. Okay. So this ends the meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, thank you.